Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Google Classroom webinar. We're glad you're here on a Wednesday evening, early evening with us. So my name's Larissa, and I'm with Instructional Technology, and I'm here with...
Hi, this is Rosie.
And Rosie is our fearless leader on the discussion board today. Okay, so we'll get started. Last year, we had a large Chromebook initiative that by now most of you are aware of Chromebooks coming in, and they're coming in en masse. And that forced, and it's actually a good thing that to log onto a Chromebook, you need a Google account. So last year, all staff, students and teachers were given Google accounts, or accounts were created. So people may know or they may not know they have a Google account, but they do. Anyone in the district has one. And we're going to definitely use that Google account. So you don't need to be on a Chromebook to use Google Classroom. For teachers, the login to your Google account is your ID at RCSD, and then 121. The goal is one computer to every student, 121, but it's 121.org, and then your district password. When you change your password on a PC, it then automatically changes your Google account. So they are linked. Always start from the PC if you want to make any changes. Okay, that's the teacher logon. And you may be asking about your students if you don't already know. It's their full email address, and then it's that RCSD one-to-one, so it's the exact same way. And in the beginning of the year, all passwords are set to a birthday password. High school, we also recommend 5th and 6th graders change those passwords on a PC, and then it will change it in Google for the Chromebooks, or just if they're using Google Classroom. It will change their Google account. Okay, so we're going to take a few minutes and just do an overview of Google Classroom. And then we'll look at different ways that you can use different tools that are available for you to use. So Google Classroom is a tool for teachers to collect and assign work. Okay, it makes it easy for them. It organizes assignments, and it's a nice way to communicate with your students, all in one place. You'll see later how all the work that it does for you, but it's managing the document sharing, it's managing the naming of files, and the organization. So if you're using Google Classroom, everything's going to be in a classroom folder in your Drive, okay, and also for students, but it's working with the Drive and organizing. It's an easy, very intuitive way to work with students. Kind of, you can get we say one-stop shopping. You can put a lot on Google Classroom. For students who are absent, they can go in. You can use it for them to find out what happened in class, for different assignments, for differentiating. So we'll talk a lot about that. It really does automate and simplify that workflow for you. Okay, so no more correcting papers. You're going paperless.
Doesn't that look nice?
Yeah. Okay, what is it not? Google Classroom is not a grade book. You can put grades in, but it's not taking the place of PowerTeacher. It's not an SMS. Okay, we have that system in place already. It's not a robust learning management system. We like to call it a light learning management system. And it is designed to work along with PowerSchool Parent Connect. Okay, so with those solutions that we have in the district. So you have a few options, actually 3 options. Well, if you So no longer are we where we're going from computer to computer with a flash drive to get work, right? We have our Google accounts, we can share files. So our first option when we're working with students, and many of you have done this, but it's good to go over this, is you can share files through Google Docs. So a student would create a doc and then share with the teacher. The teacher gets an email if they check their Gmail, or they can view it in the shared with me of their drive. They can open the student's work, they can comment on it, they can print it. All right, so that's the first option. And let's take a look just to make sure we're all on the same page what that looks like. So I'm going to go to Joe's. It's a student account. And if I click on this home, I will see that student landing page. Okay, and then I'm going to go to, I'm Joe, so I'm going to go to my drive. And I can, as a student, create a document. Okay, new doc. I do have to name it. So we're currently the giver. And then I'm going to put my name. Okay. So then as a student, I can, my teacher has orally gone over our assignment for the first 3 chapters of the giver. And I'm going to type my short paragraph here. So once I finish my work, or I can do it right away, I'm going to share it with my teacher. And I pull up my teacher's name, Liseta.
So this is if you're using the drive.
Yep, this is using the drive. So so this is the first version. We're not even to Google Classroom yet. Okay, good. So, and I shared it with my teacher. So I'm going to come back. So this is that first option of using the drive. The next option, which we're all here to talk about, is using Google Classroom. And in Google Classroom, the teacher creates the announcements or assignments, and students can create, or they can attach something they already created and turn in their documents to the teacher. No longer are they going to the drive, they're just turning them in through Google Classroom. So that's the option we're going to talk more in depth. But we do want, and then the teachers can view, grade, return. What we do want to talk to you is there's a third option. You can use e-learning, which is more robust learning management system, to create a classroom. There's a 6-hour class you can take and create your flipping classroom, I believe it is. And you will learn, just like you're in the online PD, you can have your own domain and create your own class. This gives you more options for customizing your class. Now, students would get content, assignments, they can submit the work, they can still use the Google Docs, but it just gives them more options. So that's e-learning. Those are your 3 options. All right, so we're here today to talk more about Google Classroom. So we'll jump in now, just so you know those 3 options. So first we'll look at the student view, and when you're done, we'll stop, and if you could just type something you notice or wonder about the student view. Again, if you're having any problems with the chat, Rosie's cell is 295-3812, but it sounds like most people are set.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the student view. Students, on that student landing page that opens up, you can see the Google Classroom icon on the right, the yellow and green one. They can click and they will either join your class by code by coming up here for the first time, and they'll join your class, or they'll join if you've invited them. But I'm going to click right into my class. So they click right into their class. And if they come back to that menu and click on classes, they come out here to this view. So now they're in our class. And we're on the stream first, and you can see we can scroll down, so it has like a Facebook feel to it. Okay, there's questions. This is new in Google Classroom. Oh, we forgot to mention, Google loves to update and it loves education. So often you will see, it's pretty cool because at the beginning of the year, there was huge updates. There was just some updates so for some of the other Google features, but it is not static. They are listening to our feedback as teachers. So I have a long stream here, but my teacher can leave me an announcement. So this one is an announcement. And as an announcement, I can see this one is a brain pop. Click on the link, watch the video, and complete the handout. So it's nothing I have to turn into my teacher through Google Classroom. It's a way to get information out for the teacher. So I'm going to go ahead and I would click on this and it comes to Brain Pop. There was the login information. So it opens in a new tab. I can listen to that and then hand it in, the paper and pencil. Okay, so, but it is a nice way to get links out. So that is an announcement. I'm going to come up to the top. There's also some questions. This is a new feature. My teacher can ask questions, and through Google Classroom, I can submit an answer just to the teacher if that's how she sets it up, or for the whole class to see, and that would be more like on a discussion board. So that's a question. We're not going to spend a lot of time on that because once you get the feel, we kind of want to do an overview. And once you get the feel, you will kind of explore that. All right, so this top one is an assignment. The best thing to do with the assignment is to actually click on the link or click on open for a student. So I'm going to click on it and I can see everything that my teacher has here. I have some learning targets. I can analyze the similarities and differences between heliocentric and geocentric models of the solar system. Okay, and I'm going to click on the video and website below and spend some time to listen and explore. Then I'm going to create a document, type my paragraph to compare and contrast, and then turn it in. So my teacher has put some links and a link to YouTube. And if I scroll down, this is really important down here. This is where the student, if they've already created something, they can add it from their drive right here. But it said to create a document. So I can create that doc right here. I'm going to click on Doc and it's going to create the Google Doc. I don't have to go to my drive. And look at that. It has the name of the assignment dash my name, and I did no work except one click. To open that, I'm going to open the document, and again, it opens in a new tab. And I can type my paragraph or my essay. When I'm done, I'm going to turn it in. See how it's turned in right here? This is new. I do not have to share because I'm in Google Classroom. It's doing all that sharing for me. So when the student is done, they click on turn in. They're going to do it 2 times and then turn in again. And I can see here that my assignment is done. Now, when a student turns in an assignment, they can no longer work on it. It does that sharing and it shares it to the teacher. Okay, and the teacher has the ownership, so the student can't write on it till it's returned to them. If I'm like, oh no, I do want to finish writing it, the student can unsubmit, keep writing on it, and submit. Some students are a little they're happy clickers. So they might submit right away and then they say they can't type in it. Well, it's because they submitted the assignment. So they can just unsubmit. Okay. When I'm done, I'm going to come back out. So that was an assignment. And again, it's going to mark when I have it done. Over on the left, I can see there's kind of like my to-do list, what is due. And I have this assignment due Tuesday. If I click on View All, it will give me for all of my classes. Okay, I can go to all classes or just the class that I want. And this is where the students would also, and when they click on Done, they can see their grade here, all their work. So this really could be like their to-do list. Now, these hot dogs or this classroom main menu on the left side, we went there before, but this is how you would get back to your class, okay, on the left. I clicked here to see all my assignments. I could also click up here and click Work, and it would bring me to that same place.
So Larissa, we have a couple of people saying that the window is sort of blurry.
Yes.
For them. And so I just posted in the chat, I just posted in the chat window, but in case your window is blurry and you're having difficulty seeing, in that bottom right-hand corner, you will see like a gear, and that's to get to your settings. And so if you click on that and then go to quality in the viewer, then you can choose like 720, and it makes it more clear for you to view.
Okay. And it probably doesn't help that I'm doing a lot of scrolling or, yeah.
Yeah. But some people commented about that, and it seemed like when I did that to mine, it cleared it up.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. So, Rosie, one thing I noticed is that I don't have it on where I can chat. Do you mind going in and changing that?
Okay.
And then I'll show it after. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You can see I have 2 teachers. So yes, you can have multiple teachers. So that was the Stream tab. When I click on Classmates tab, there's not a lot here for students. They'll see the other students in the class. And then the About is where my teacher, this is where my teacher's information is. And my teacher can leave like documents, things that don't change. So basic links for the class. And this is really important, this Google Drive folder. This classroom is really linked with the drive. So this is the name of the folder for this class in my drive. I'm going to click on it and just show you that. So when you go to the drive, and this is for the teacher and the student, and you don't have to go there, but just know that it's there. I'm just going to refresh. Okay, so in my drive, I have a classroom folder. Everyone will. And as a teacher, all your classes are in it. As a student, I have all my classes in it, and then my work is in each of the classes. So I don't need to go here. I'm going to go through Google Classroom, but it is linked, and all of those files are here going forward. Even after my teacher archives the class, I still have my work. So I'm going to come back to the stream, and I will. Before it was turned off that I couldn't leave a comment, but Rosie just turned it on. So you can decide most of the time when you start, you may turn this off as a teacher, but it's a really nice feature where students can comment. You could have a video and then they leave one question they have or one thing they learned. So this comment is here, and your students can use that. So just wanted to make you aware. As a teacher, you can turn it off or on.
And you know, I was just in a classroom the other day, and this teacher had left this feature turned on while she was showing a video. And the students were actually commenting about the things they noticed, the things they wondered, the things that they were hoping that the teacher would cover after the video. So they were having a nice ongoing conversation.
I think it's a really nice feature that students, if taught what's appropriate and what's not, they do want to have everybody see their work, yeah, their comments. So that's great. After you comment, and whenever you see these 3 dots here, as a student, I can delete my comment, but that is really an edit button, edit and delete. Okay, so okay. So that is a quick view of the student view. If you could take a minute and post something you notice or wonder in the webinar Q&A or the webinar chat. Okay, we got a lot of good comments from all of you. I'm going to keep going. So next we are obviously going to go to the teacher view. So the next thing that you'll be asked to post is a difference that you notice between the student and the teacher view. Okay, let's take a look at that teacher view. Now, the first time we're working to get Google Classroom. When you're using Classroom, you should use Chrome. Okay, it works best in Chrome. Not everything is supported if you're not using Chrome. And eventually we'll have it in the links right here, those RCSD links. But you can just put classroom.google.com and then bookmark it, okay? And you'll come into Classroom. Now, you can be a teacher and a student. So I have both. I'm a teacher and a student. And I have a lot of classes. So don't be overwhelmed. But if just like the student, you can click on that main menu, and these are the classes I'm teaching. And then I am enrolled in a lot of classes also. So you can be in both. Okay, and you can just click from here, from class to class to move. Now, the stream is pretty similar to the students. You'll see a few more things. This is what's due. The class code is here for students to join, and it's also under students, so we'll talk about it there. You can select a theme, and there's a lot of new themes in here. You can even upload a picture of your cat or your dog or your students. You can change that background picture, and that's done right up here, which is a nice feature. Now, This plus is really where you start everything in the stream. So if you click on that plus, you can create an announcement. You'll do this on the online component of the class. You'll create an announcement and an assignment. Okay, the next one is an assignment. This is where you can create a question, which is a new feature, very nice. Either just where you see the response, so more check for understanding, or a question, more a discussion question. And then you can reuse a post, which is really handy too. Okay, so that's on that side. What's really nice is also, and this, when you create and you're working on your assignment, you don't have to assign it right away. There's this drop down, the arrow, and you can save it as a draft. So I know a lot of teachers that co-teach, or if you just like to get things done ahead of time, you can save those as your drafts, or your co-teacher can take a look at it. So you can really share the work. And then they're just in this drafts, ready to go. You click here and you open it when you're ready to assign it. Okay. Under, if I scroll down on a post, these three dots, remember we talked about that, that's edit. There is a new feature, this move to the top, so you can edit or delete things in your stream or move it to the top. We like to number our assignments because it does go whatever was last on top. So this way you can give students direction to get right to one of the assignments. Okay, so that's the stream. The next tab is the students. And in the students, there's this code here, and you can change it. If it has like something, a 0 or an O that you're not sure, you can change, just reset the code. And this is how the students, for high school or even 5th and 6th grade, you can just post this code, and the students go to Google Classroom, they go to that plus, and they join your class. They only do it one time, and they'll automatically be in your class. You can also invite them, and we go through this in the class, in the online component, by inviting a contact group. Okay, you make a contact group and invite that whole group, or you could just search a student. Okay, or if your administrator wants to be in your class, or another teacher just to see what you're doing, you can invite someone to your class that way. Okay, so the code or invite. The other important thing on this page is, remember those comments? This is where you can change those settings. So if you choose all the students, you can have only the teacher can post. And that way students won't be able to post. You can also change this. So when you're ready, some teachers leave it on students can comment and post all the time. Some teachers manage that, and when they're ready and they want them, they change it. So whatever you feel comfortable with, that's there for you. The About tab, this is where you would invite a teacher. So you can see there's an invite teacher down at the bottom, and that's how you would add a co-teacher. Okay, the person who begins the class, they can delete the class, but the co-teacher has full access to everything. They just can't delete the class. This is a nice place where you can add materials. So if you have a textbook, a link for your textbook, places that links that you want the students to go to. You could even add a Google folder where you're putting materials. Okay, so that's the About tab. I'm going to have you comment just on the differences between the student and teacher view, and then we're going to go back and look at that assignment. So when an assignment is turned in, we'll go look what that looks like. Okay, there was one question about the parents. Um, Google Classroom is just, it is kind of a closed environment. It's only for our CSD one-to-one accounts. So only students would be in the class. Now that said, parents have commented like, oh, you know, they're definitely looking at their student's account. Because we'll get into this, you can look at it on your phone, on an iPad, or on the computer. We've also talked about this new feature, the calendar. So that might be a way to, we can explore, or you could explore to involve, you could share your calendar with parents. Did you want to add anything, Rosie?
Yeah, I was just going to mention that about the Google Calendar. That is something that we kind of talk on a little bit in the intermediate class, but you can always reach out to us and we'll help you with that process.
Okay, so I want to come back to the stream, and you assign something, so an assignment, students are turning in work. Let's look at what it looks like. So I can see real time, well, within seconds, when a student turns in an assignment, and I can see 1 is done and 9 are not done. So I can just click here, and they've changed this interface. I think it's nice. It's pretty user-friendly now. So I can see all my students, and the points for the grade is up here. I can change this to 100, 20. I can also click on here and change it if you're on a 4-point or a 9-point rubric. And now I click on the student and I see Joe. This is his essay. So I'm going to click on it and it opens in a new tab. Remember, the tabs, you kind of have to go back. Everything's still open in a tab. And I can see that Joe has not done much work, but I can leave, as a teacher, I can leave specific comments for editing. A lot of teachers are using this. Be specific on my students' work. So I can go through and I can mark it up. I'm not correcting it, but I'm leaving comments for that they'll see, and then they have to do the work. It's a nice feature.
You know, that feedback feature that students can actually get before they've even finished the work.
Right, and you could still conference with them, but at least it's all ready to go. And they like that right away, you know, that instant feedback, or when you get to it, but it's a little easier to get to. So I'm here, I'm going to come back to my assignment. I can grade it, or if I still want the student to work on it, I can return it to them. So I can click here, I'm going to give them a 0, and then I can return it to that student. So if I just click return and please finish and resubmit. And then I can return it to the student. Once I return it, and it's really important as a teacher that I do return it, because then they can go into Google Classroom, click on it, and keep working on it. And then they can resubmit. Okay. So the teacher just gets an email when a student leaves a comment. So if you are someone that likes to check, you know, those your Gmail, or you have it forwarded, you could keep up on that. Otherwise, they'll tell you when they submit it. Okay, so that is how to look at student work. Now, if some of you have started a class, if you go to your classes, just like the students go to their classes, if you have classes from last year, those 3 dots, you can click here and archive those classes. Okay. If students have classes from previous teachers, they can click on those 3 dots and unenroll too, to kind of clean up their classes.
Yours looks kind of busy.
I know. I try not to go in there too much. Okay, so I'm on my phone now, and earlier,
Oh, you're going to show this really cool feature.
yes, actually, I'll come back out. Oh, I do want to talk one more thing about before we get to the fun things. So in a assignment, we're keeping it simple on the intro, and we do some of this, and we go more in depth in the intermediate class. But if you attach a Word doc or a PDF to an assignment, students cannot type. They're in the Google environment, so they cannot type on an attached Word or PDF. Okay, so just keep that in mind. If you want them to view it, that's fine, you can attach. But this is something we see a lot, a question that comes up, so we want to really clarify. You can attach a doc for them to Word. In the intermediate, we go over how you can add a Google Doc or a Google Slide. Okay, so in the class we have the information, but we're really keeping it simple and just having them create a Google Doc. So this is an example that we'll do in the intermediate where you can attach a Google Doc for them to type in. And we hope you go on to that next class. All right, so one really nice feature of Google Classroom is the app is really getting stronger and stronger. There's a lot you can do from the app, and it's so easy on a Droid or an iPhone. You can just download the Google Classroom. Also make sure you download Drive, Slides, and Docs so you can open those types of files. I find that I use the Drive, like I access files from my Drive on my phone a lot. How about you, Rosie?
Yes, whether it doesn't matter what device I'm on, it's so nice having that Drive feature available. And then maybe they'll get in there and play with that classroom and see what's available there.
Exactly. So students are accessing, especially at a high school where more of your students have phones, they are accessing the classroom, making comments. So I'm just going to refresh. And from my phone, we posted this lovely image. Let's go up close.
Oh, you're going to make it nice and big.
Yeah, there we are. So in case you didn't know what we looked like, so it's easy. You can post from your phone images, something to do with your class or just of your class. It's a nice way.
You know, so maybe it's an image, maybe it's a quick short video. Maybe the students are doing something outside of school and they want you need them to submit it. It's just a nice way to get that involvement.
And it's easy, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, you know everybody's downloading it right now as we speak. All right, and that's great. So just as a review to wrap up, we talked about the different ways you can share files. So you can use the Drive, right? And for any grade, it might be a good way for hesitant teachers to start getting used to working with students. What's nice is you can get the students started orally. Google Classroom, we suggest grade 3 and 12. I think someone in the discussion board said grade 2 students can even do this. And I'm sure they can, especially for posting links. If you keep it simple, they can do it. But we usually suggest 3 through 12. There's minimal setup required. If you want to get work to your students, it's the best way. You know, I'm sorry, I went back. It's an easy way to get that work back and forth between the students and you. The last option is e-learning. for grades, we suggest grades 3 through 7 as an option. Again, teacher setup required for teachers who would like to use some of those advanced features. So tagging questions, you have a little more with how the organization in e-learning works. Okay, so those are your options. Now, if you could, our last post would be something you learned or one question you have. This is the online component of the class to give you an overview and all those how-tos like setting up your class, creating a meaningful announcement or post that you can use with your students. Those are the things that are in the online component of the class. So you have until next Wednesday. So if you could take a minute and just post that ticket out the door. This webinar will be posted and we'll email when that happens, probably tomorrow.
So that way you can go back and watch the video.
Exactly. One thing we do ask, you have, it's Wednesday already. We hope that you go in, and typically a lot of people do it right after the webinar, but if you could just make sure you can get to Google Classroom and create a class. We just want to make sure that you're verified, that you have no problems, and then you're good to go and you can work over the weekend on it. So we'll be here for the next 10 minutes. I kind of like that we finished a little early.
I know.
So thank you guys. We really appreciate it. It's a busy time of year that you took time out to join us, and we really want you to then finish the class so you can get the full credit.
Okay.
Okay, thanks so much, and we will answer questions on the chat too.